For thousands of years, Oriental mystics have credited man with a third eye, called the Eye of Enlightenment. A Sanskrit manuscript of AD 1526 said it was the grantor of divine knowledge, as lustrous as the light of all suns shining at one and the same time. Now Western scientists seem to be taking their first hesitant steps towards agreeing with this extraordinary claim. The organ the Eastern sages were talking about may be the pineal gland, a pea-sized knob of gray and white tissue, shaped like a pine cone and buried at the back of the skull almost exactly on the midline of the brain. This is one of the most primitive parts of the brain, and a study of creatures which have not greatly changed their form since ancient times reveals that, like an eye, the pineal gland can be sensitive to changes of light. The tuatara of New Zealand, for instance, has a central cleft in its skull, covered with a transparent membrane, which lets light through to the pineal. The gland responds to changes in light, and probably controls camouflage color changes in the skin. These findings are strengthened by experiments conducted by the German scientist Eberhard Dodt. He showed that the pineal of a frog is a wavelength discriminator, which converts the light energy of certain wavelengths into nervous impulses within the frog's body. It is now thought that these nervous impulses stimulate the output of hormones, the chemical messengers which control the processes of life in the bodies of all animals. In the frog, the pineal may control skin coloring, and there is evidence to suggest that its influence may also extend to other parts of the body such as the sexual organs. Survival of a species often depends on reproduction being restricted to one certain season of the year. It may be that the pineal, which was able to judge the season from the length or intensity of the sunlight, had the job of telling the sexual organs when to grow and function. For thousands of years, argument raged over what the pineal did in man. Was it merely a leftover from our distant past, with no modern function to perform? Or was it a real gland, a piece of tissue producing hormones? In the 4th century BC, the Greek anatomist Herophilus said it was the valve which regulates the flow of thought. Over 2,000 years later, the French philosopher René Descartes called it the seat of the rational soul. The mystery is still unsolved, although in 1958 an American scientist, Aaron Lerner, discovered a hormone produced by the pineal gland. The hormone, which he named melatonin, controls the spread of melanin, the pigment that gives color to the skin and hair. Melatonin is manufactured from another chemical, serotonin, which scientists have found to be present in large quantities in the pineal gland. In fact, the gland seems to be the serotonin reservoir for the whole brain. Serotonin was soon found to be a far from rare chemical in nature. It was first discovered in the salivary glands of the octopus, while bananas and plums are also rich in serotonin. The species of fig tree called bo, under which Buddha sat and obtained enlightenment, also abounds in the chemical. Scientists made a staggering discovery about the chemical in 1954. It seems to be the key to rational thought. The fig tree in Buddha's garden may have been a tree of enlightenment in the most literal sense. When serotonin is present in the brain, man can think straight. But when it is absent, then strange hallucinations occur, resembling the symptoms of the mental disease schizophrenia. This seemed to pave the way to an instant cure. Would it be possible to cure schizoids by dosing them with serotonin? Unfortunately, attempts to do so have so far proved to be failures. It seems that serotonin is greatly affected by the drug known as LSD, lysergic acid diethylamide. A few millionths of a gram of LSD can produce powerful hallucinations, and it appeared highly unlikely that such a tiny quantity could wreak such changes by itself. By tagging LSD molecules with radioactivity, it was found that they go directly to particular parts of the brain, where they block out serotonin. Thus it seems that an LSD trip is the result of serotonin deficiency. For all these discoveries, the pineal gland is still a mystery. But it does seem clear that from its ancient role as a monitor of sunlight, it has developed other functions. In 1898, the German physician Otto Hübner reported a case in which a boy suffering from a damaged pineal gland possessed sexual organs greatly overdeveloped for his age. In experiments on female rats, it was shown that the larger the pineal gland, the smaller the ovary. Both cases suggest that the secretion of the pineal affects sexual development. An intriguing possibility is that, although buried deep inside the human brain, The gland might still be affected by light seeping through, however faintly. In this case, bodily processes and emotions could still be as affected by sunlight and moonlight as the songwriters have always insisted.